Hi.
Hi, Don.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. Would you want to tell everyone how we met?
Yes, I do. So we met on the street just right here in Venice, and I was getting out of the water, putting my board in the car, and we went into this magical conversation from surfing to climbing to live to race, and it went on for an hour, which it seemed like me like we could talk for hours, and I'm glad we're doing this right now. So it was amazing, and yeah, that's how we met.
When we were talking, you shared with me this goal you have of climbing the highest peak on 7 continents.
I'm going in it from also not just doing those 7 summits, but also the highest volcanoes as well. So no African American has ever done that. When I'm done with all 14, I actually will be the first African American to do those 7 peaks, the 7 volcanoes, and then the highest mountain in each ocean as well.
Amazing. And so, what do you do for your training?
So my training is a variety of different disciplines and sports. So I do freediving, I do elevation sprints here, I do surfing. Those are my trainings, and then I have gym workouts as well. I'll climb Mount Baldy in the morning at 3 a.m. Once a week, and that's a push day for me. And then I'll come down off the mountain. I'm in the water, either in Huntington Beach or back here in Santa Monica or Venice area by the afternoon. And then if it allows, I'm in the gym, which we can't do right now, obviously because of COVID. I'm in that working out for about another hour and a half, and then it's recovery. But yeah, and then free diving on the weekends as well to make sure my breath work is actually good to go to take on elevation.
The breath work, that's interesting because you're asthmatic. So, how does that tie into your training, and how does that make it more difficult for you?
So that's a good point right there. And a lot of people don't ask that question. I'm glad you did, because being asthmatic, a lot of people are like, oh, how do you climb to 20,000 feet? It comes down to meditation and understanding yourself. To me, it's like my body is a car and my mind is I'm the driver. So just open the reading manual and get to understand what my body has limitations to, versus being like, well, you have a disadvantage with your asthma. Like, do I really? That just means I have to train a little bit different and understand what my body can and cannot handle. So that's how I got a lot into like free diving, is to understand how far, how long can I hold my breath under distress, and then how can I actually push myself at these very extreme elements when I'm climbing to really know how my body is. Being asthmatic didn't make me feel that I was limited. It made me understand my body even deeper to unlock these new different places to be a better athlete. So I only use my inhaler. I tell people when I go on a date for the first time, because I'm really nervous. I do that. I was using it here. It's in the car actually before this, because I was really nervous too. But then other than that, I really only use it when I really, really have to on expeditions or when I'm freediving. But I've learned how to really calm my body. I make sure that my average heart rate is at a good meditative pace, and then I just take it from there. Oh, my first influence would be Makua Rothman, KK, and Sonny Garcia. When my grandparents adopted me and took me to Hawaii, I really got to see what nature was like. I never saw that, going up in a concrete jungle. Coming from a very turbulent environment. Like, I was used to like, all right, you got drive-by shootings, you have a lot of violence, you're gonna die. Like, those were common things there. When I got to Hawaii, I was like, let me get this straight. You got sand, what is this? You got the ocean, you got leaves, you got volcanoes, and you're learning about resources and about people. So those people, I remember just seeing them in like Hawaiian surf, and I was like, that is beautiful, it's poetic, and the way that they were so communal. When it came to climbing, I taught myself to climb just like I taught myself to surf. I didn't really have anyone teach me. I tell my grandmother the story, and if she was on this show right now with us, she definitely would be like, yes, he would go to the pool, jump in the deep end, didn't know how to swim, and I would just try to get to the other side. As soon as my feet would touch the shallow end, I'll get out, run back, and do it again. And that's how I built myself up to get into surfing, where I just bought my first surfboard, went out and just practiced every day. Those people, again, collectively, my grandmother, KK, Sonny, Makua, those people I looked at, they inspired me to keep going. Sophia, Freeman, they just, again, were like, keep going, keep breaking through the glass ceiling. So I didn't get into this just to conquer mountains. Like, I get to the top, I meditate, but it's about really giving back to the people. And I told this to someone, like, if I get to the top of the mountain and I sold out to a brand and I'm like making millions, I didn't climb any mountain. All I did was just keep a system that was already broken still functioning for people that are not reaping those benefits. And I don't want to do that at all. I was doing the highest mountain in the South Pacific, so the Trinity Challenge, they call it. It's Mount Fuji, Mount Kinabalu, Mount Jade in Taiwan. And I'm sitting in this little coffee shop drinking my hot chocolate, and this woman is talking to me about like, oh, where are you from? And I'm saying I'm from America. And I say, that's cool, you should come visit. As soon as that leaves my mouth, I sound so ignorant because I look around and it would take so much for her to even get a plane ticket there, to even like experience America I do. And at that moment, I noticed that we're all stuck between these worlds, like lottery tickets. None of us got to say where we're going to be born, how we will come out, what our environments are. And I just said, I don't want to just conquer mountains. I want to connect with people. So from that place forward, I said, I will always work with nonprofits or find nonprofits that are struggling in these mountains or communities I'm going to climb along the way. You're not just seeing a black man push through to the other side of history. It's also learning about all those other people that are pushing through that glass ceiling to be on the other side of their own history. At the end of the day, Don, I look forward to us sitting down when I'm like in my 60s and being like, guess what, Don? And we're sitting there and some person comes through the coffee shop and goes, I just got a scholarship for the Between Worlds Project. And when they say that, we can just look over and be like, and don't say, and they're like, why are you guys smiling? We'll just be like, no reason, and then walk away. That to me is the whole end game for me.
And so you said that you wanted to bring diversity to the sport and have people exposed to things that they're normally not. So what does that look like for you?
If everyone is looking the same and thinking the same, we're doing the same thing. We're not elevating ourselves. So when I look at climbing, I look around and I'll just say this right now, there's only like 10 or 12 of us that are really pushing that envelope in the outdoor trad climbing or sport climbing or mountaineering. So for me, it's having kids of any color, any race, and whatever gender they identify with to be out there and be themselves in a healing moment of nature like it was for me. I'm excited for the kids behind me, and I'm excited for just the girls behind me and like anyone else that identifies like to come into the sport and be like, I'm gonna push it even just harder. The other day I was out surfing and I saw this, I think she was like 11 years old, like African-American girl just coming down the line, and I saw her braids just flipping in the air, and I was just like, that's it right there. That's what I want to see. I'm excited to see that kind of level of progression, not just stay in a very one-sided race, but move out and be more eclectic for people to see themselves. Because if you don't have any representation in the sport, how can you be that? Again, it goes back to if you can't see yourself doing something, you don't know if it's possible. Having those kids and the future generations believe in themselves, navigate from where they sit under that glass ceiling, break through it, send a rope down or surf down and pick others up for them and push them through to be between those worlds comfortably and navigate it for the future generations after them. Yeah, so I think for me, again, going back to being born in Detroit, you're born with a stigma already in society sometimes where it's like you're black, you're born into a very turbulent environment, and a lot of people have bars on their windows in their houses. And psychologically, if you think about it, you're pretty much programming kids to like know what bars feel like already. So you're pretty much, okay, cool, I'm already behind bars, so when I get behind bars, it feels natural to me. What would it be like if I grew up in a suburban house where I already knew what nature was like? I already was able to have these deeper discussions and have a level of privilege where I could navigate this freely and not be, ostracized based off my color. And those things for me were something that I just really thought about with the Between Worlds Project is being a black man or an African-American man where you see yourself or others of your colleagues within your community being taken to jail or being put down on national television does hurt your psyche a lot. So I've always just questioned that, and it's something that I still fight for now when I climb is, what would it be like if Andrew Alexander King was a white man? Would my 2 degrees that I already have been easier? Would I have already been elevated to a senior level executive? Would I already have sponsors? Or what would that life be like? I would say now, I'm grateful for that, 100%, because it taught me to have a level of confidence in myself. I won't lie to you, Don, like, when I was young, I would cry because I'm very frustrated, like, why am I this color? Why doesn't anyone want to be my friend? Why do I have to try so hard? Now, I'm like, I love being black. Like, it's taught me to be compassionate. It's taught me to be bold. It's taught me to have confidence. I can say that being this color and being this race, I'm excited and happy that I had that lottery ticket and it pushed me out there. I had to grow up very fast, and when I take off on a wave, I'm like, I'm not gonna die in a drive-by shooting. I'm gonna die naturally. If an avalanche comes and gets me on a mountain, nature was not prejudiced. It did not discriminate towards me. It was something natural, and I accept that. It wasn't because I got pulled over, told to put my hands on a car, and I didn't say the right thing, and I've been neutralized.
Happy birthday.
Thank you.
Happy birthday.
Yeah, I'm 33, and I say that it's been the most beautiful journey that I've had, and I always look back at it, and my mom and I were just talking about this, like, she's like, I never thought in a million years that you would be chasing and climbing mountains. I was like, Mom, the first mountain we ever climbed was out of Detroit. Like, when people say, what's your first mountain? I say, 770 Asbury Park. That was the first mental mountain. Like, getting from school to home, you didn't know if you were gonna get shot. You didn't know if I was gonna get beat up. Like, I saw a gun for the first time as a fifth grader, and I saw like a drive-by shooting when I was like, again, in the fifth grade, and I lost friends from that. And so I said, Mom, like, that was our first mountain. I was like, to me, that was my Everest already. Like, all I have to do is just keep walking with a pack up. Okay, cool. I'll keep doing that. She's like, do you ever think like life would have been different? I'm like, you're the best mom I could have asked for. And she's like, do you ever like think about your dad? I go, I had the best grandparents, mom, siblings, and village. I'm super happy that my dad met you and he created me, and that's all I needed to know. And I'm super happy about that. So yeah. If you're watching this, follow your dreams. If you're sitting in a place and you think you're marginalized and you feel that you're not heard, you are heard, and there's people out there that are gonna listen to you. And never give up on yourself. I think when you sit down and you're in those dark moments, don't give up. Keep swimming, and when you break through that glass ceiling, put a rope back down and bring others with you. And the journey's not gonna be easy, but I guarantee you at the end of it, it'll be worth it. And just never give up and stay loving and learn all you can from people, like I did from Don. So yeah, that's all I got.
I do have one more question. Can you name all 14
Yes.
mountains that you're going to climb and volcanoes?
Yes, let's do this. Okay, we're gonna start from, let's do Kilimanjaro. We have Everest. We have Mount Vinson. We have Aconcagua. We have Ola de Sela. That's that's the highest volcano down in Argentina. Mount Gui in Papua New Guinea. And then we have Pujak, Denali, Pico de Osa. And I think two of them overlap. So Kilimanjaro and Elbrus overlap with each other. So they're two volcanoes, and they're the highest mountain on each continent. Then you have Mount Damand, and then you have Mount Sidley, which is in Antarctica. If someone wants to hold my hand and go with me on this journey, please call me. We can do this together. But if not, just watch along the way. And if you see me, high five or throw the shaka. And if we can hug each other, then I'll hug you. So yeah. I get free surfing lessons because, again, I think nature, in my opinion, is free. It should be a place of healing, and I never look at the ocean as, like, again, a place that I own. It's something that we are given as happiness. So if anyone ever sees me and they're like, hey, I'm trying to get better, I will happily help you to get better. And it's a 1% method, like taking your time. So there's a few people here I've met where they didn't believe me, and I'm like, yep, give me a call if I have time, I'm coming out with you. And they're like, you're not gonna surf? I'm like, I already have surfing to that level. It's now getting people to find that enjoyment and happiness and freedom.
You said you were free diving training today?
Yeah, we're taking the boat out at Marina del Rey.
Yeah.
We're coming out right here, and we're gonna go free diving right off Santa Monica, do some breath work today. So the team, I taught them the free dive back in August, and they picked it up quick. So we're a bunch of African American sailors, and they were like, hey Andrew, can you teach us how to free dive? And like, when we learn how to free dive, we want to learn how to catch fish. So not only do we free dive now, we actually get our food when we go free diving, catch our fish, say thank you to Mother Nature, and we scale it and eat when we come back at night.
That's amazing. What time's dinner?
So if you want some food, we usually get out of the water by sunset. It's not really too, I try to make sure that everyone's out of the water at sunset because it's not safe to be down there. You got sharks migrating through, so.
Right here?
Down there in Santa Monica, you got a lot of different marine life that comes through here that people really don't see obviously on the surface. But yeah, we're gonna go free diving right off here. So you've got like 4 African American sailors, and anyone we say, hey, if you want to learn how to free dive or learn how to hunt some fish, come along.
So in any of the sports, can you name, like in surfing, who are the other African American surfers?
Hunter Jones, who lives here, which is Hunter, if you see this, I love you. Mike Febue, he's really good, he's from South Africa. amazing style. Amazing style. When it comes to climbing, you have Fred Climbs, you have Mohan, who is an ice climber. You have Dom, who lives here too, one of the best sport climbers, travels to Turkey. When it comes to freediving, I don't really see a lot of African Americans freediving. If there are out there, please let me know. I would love to get them together. And then, yeah, that's basically it. It's like definitely a big proportion of that. But Hunter Jones, Mike February, Dom, Nate, Maham, and yeah, those are probably it when it comes to climbing. And they're pushing the limit. And the crazy thing is, when Black Lives Matter started, a lot of companies were trying to look for, like, where do we find these African American athletes? We all were sitting on Instagram to each other, and we all got an Instagram chat, and we're like, I think we're the face of this, because everyone's reaching out to just us. It's like a certain group of us. And same with surfing now. They're like, where do we find these? We need more diversity. The reason why you're not going to find it is because accessibility, accountability, and resources are not given to people of color. So you're looking for something that has to jump so many barriers and hurdles just to get into the sport, and then they're coming with very low tools, like properly bat surfboards, wetsuits. So their progression isn't going to be as impactful as someone that's from California or lives in Hawaii, and that's why they're struggling. Like, well, how do we find these unicorns? They're not unicorn people. We are people that are pushing through that glass ceiling, and now we're trying to go back down and pull people up with us. So those people, for sure, are the people in that sport I look up to every day, that push me every day. So yeah. The ocean teaches you three things: to be present, to not project the future, and to let go of the past. Because if you think about that last wave that just gone by, the past, you're not going to be in the present. You're going to miss the wave that's coming at you. And if you're too focused on the future, you're not going to be thinking about that wave that's coming at you and how to get up on it. And that's what the ocean to me teaches me every day when I come out here.
And that was the question I was just going to ask you, is to talk about between meditation when you get up on the mountain and your state of consciousness climbing, versus when you're in the water and feeling the waves, versus when you free dive and you're in the water and feeling your breath and being present. So for me, when you're at the top of a mountain and when I get to the top of the mountain, I meditate, and I always I say this, I'm connecting my mind to my body. So I meditate about the mountain I'm trying to do now, which is Denali this year. Denali is the back of my phone. I wake up and I'm looking at it, I look up all the routes. I'm already meditating and like putting my body to feel that. Secondly, when I get to the top of it, I'm connecting my mind to my body. Like, my mind has been at Denali since the beginning already. And when it comes to surfing, it's the same aspect of it. Like, I'm thinking about in the present, I'm like, be very meditative and calculate about how you're moving your arms, where you're going, how you're standing up. And then when it comes to freediving, it's putting it all together. Like, you're in a body of water that's already living. We're pushing life towards it. Be present in that and learn how to really just be like, okay, where's my lungs? Where's my breathing? What can I control? Back to the user manual that we talked about of your body. It's like, okay, you can control if you're gonna be like panicking and such. When you wipe out on a big wave, people freak out. They're like, oh, I'm so scared. I'm like, just let yourself be relaxed. If you're doing this, like, I can't swim. Like, you're just getting yourself worse. So again, learning to be meditative, understand your body, let the ocean pass over you. You're gonna come up. It's gonna push you up. When? I don't know. But again, it's back to learning yourself and connecting your whole body to it. So that's what works for me, at least. Awesome. Are you gonna get in?
Am I gonna get in? Yeah.